Hey, Brian at Uprising Seeds here, and we just wanted to do a quick field tour of the trials and talk a little bit about what we're seeing in our seed work these days. We've been doing Radicchio seed for probably selling Radicchio seed and growing Radicchio for 15 years, selling it for probably starting in 2008 or 9. And we've really seen the quality jump a lot in the last 5 years, which is really exciting. And I think that's paralleled, or is maybe the result in what we see as just a huge rising demand for it as a crop, as people start to get interested in growing it, start to learn a little bit more about the culture of growing it, and also as better seed is kind of making its way into the US market. And what we used to see when we started growing it about 15 years ago was just really wild, variable populations where the product that you were, whether it was a Treviso Precoce type, you'd maybe see 50-60% of them actually hit that beautiful form. And I feel like at first it was marketed as part of its charm, that it was just kind of wild and variable, and that was kind of the fun. And I think it was just that people weren't getting the good seeds into the States. Whether it was available, I have to believe that it was available and really high quality in Italy at the time, but I think since there wasn't a demand for it here, a lot of inferior quality seed was coming over. So now that the demand is kind of picking up, we're really seeing the quality rise a lot. And one of the exciting things we're doing this year is starting to work with a company, Smarties, out of northern Italy. And it's a young breeding outfit that's doing a lot of work with all the different varieties in, early, mid-season, late slots. And so mostly what we grow here at the farm is not for eating. I mean, we eat and sell some of it, but it's just evaluation plots. We do a lot of trialing here. And so all the different flags you see are where one variety ends and the next begins. We do a lot of duplicate trials of many different varieties within a type. So, for example, we've got 5 different Verona types in our field, about half a dozen Castelfrancos, and on and on. And so, quite a bit of what we're looking at this year are varieties from Smarties, and a lot of what's in this block right here is that. And we're pretty excited with what we're seeing, and likely going to be importing and distributing some of their seed this coming season. So, here we've got the earliest of their Veronas, just showing beautiful kind of egg-shaped Verona form. Next to it, we've got some Puntarelle. We've got a pink type Radicchio, and then the Treviso Precoce and Castelfrancos. And as we move down the rows, most of the rows start with the earliest slots, so the shortest days to maturity in the type. And then as we move down, we'll get into the later varieties. So a lot of the beginnings of the rows are actually kind of in their prime right now. You can see beautiful Trevisos, the smaller types, which are the early fresh market types. Generally the later ones are bigger for storage, so you can start to peel back the outer leaves and get the best leaves. They peel down a little bit when you sell them. And the Castelfrancos, nice dense heads of Castelfrancos that have the beautiful speckled golden interiors. Look at one of those. Down into these beautiful golden cores. So with the higher quality seed that we've seen coming in from Italy for a lot of the real classic categories, the Trevisos and Veronas and Chioggias and whatnot, we're pretty excited to see that here, and we're also seeing an opportunity as breeders that all these varieties cross. A lot of them are not that old. So there's a huge opportunity to experiment with crosses with the types. And we're really passionate about the forcing types, the Gorizzias, the Treviso Tardivos, the Belgian Endive, those kinds of things. And so we see opportunities to make cool new forms, new color patterns within those types, or kind of intermediaries between those types, and create sort of new categories of radicchios. One of the ones we're playing around with a lot is the pink type radicchios, like the Rosalba. There's a couple others that have made it to the US market, and the color seems to have kind of taken the culinary world by storm. It seems to have captured everyone's imaginations, and everyone's really fallen for it. And we're really interested in bringing that color to some of the other types. We've got an F3 cross at this point with Rosalba and a Treviso Tardivo, thinking that pink Tardivo would be kind of an amazing thing. We've got over here a cross that we did with a Castelfranco and Isentino, which is a Gorizia type, with the goal of stabilizing a beautiful speckled rose forcing type. And that's what this is. This was from a cross last year. So this is Gorizia crossed with an Isentina, or with a Castelfranco. So it's got that beautiful speckling, but as it gets cooler, we're hoping that it'll show some more color in the leaves, and maybe we'll force into something interesting. And it seems like there's such a diversity of genetics with the types that there's just so much opportunity to create some really pretty special new things. So with all the classic categories having improved so much, we're really seeing this as an opportunity to get creative with radicchios and maybe develop something new and exciting with all the colors and leaf shapes and patterns that are found in the family. So that's kind of where we're excited with our breeding work, and really excited with this potential partnership with Smarties to start getting some of the really high quality seed coming out of Italy into the markets here. Hey, so I'm Brian with Uprising Seeds, and our primary involvement with Radicchios is through our seed work. So we thought it would be interesting to show you how we do our seed processing with pretty low-tech tools. This is what we, after we cut it and dry it, this is what the chicory plant looks like. The seeds are held really tightly down in the leaf nodes in these little deals, and they're pretty hard to get out. So what we do is we run it through a chipper shredder here, and so this is a real small lot. This is just a couple plants. This is a breeding plot we're working on, and just a couple plants for a breeding population. So I'll turn this on. It's a little bit loud, and start running it through here. that's come out the bottom is seeds and then all this other stuff. So first we'll run it through just a rough screen to get the biggest stuff out. And this isn't a seed that we're worried about getting a huge amount of just because it's a little breeding plot. This is an F2. And we're just looking for enough to do a population to start selecting from. So that's still got obviously a ton of junk in it. So just to get it a little finer, now that we've got it down to a smaller amount of material. That's getting closer to just the seeds in there. You can see there's still a lot of junk in there, sepals and leaf bits, but getting closer. And once it gets down to this size, after we screen it all through, the seeds are quite a bit heavier than the rest of it. So we'll use a machine to winnow the chaff off. And we'll just in the later seed as well. And then we'll be just down to a good seed for planting. So this machine just blows a controlled stream of air across this. The seed drops from a hopper into this tray that vibrates and slowly moves down so that it comes down in a sheet in front of this, and the lighter seed and chaff gets blown further. And you can kind of set this divider at the line where the good seed falls on this side and the chaff and light seed falls on that side. So it takes, I'm gonna pour all of it in and then just open it up a little bit and find out where that line's gonna be. I'm guessing probably about here. Spreading out in the wind. This is the good seed coming here, and then over on this side is, you can see even the difference color, the lighter seed versus the darker seed. The lighter seed usually being the lightweight seed. If this were seed to sell, we'd probably run it through a couple more times and get it perfectly clean, and then put a screen smaller than the size of the seed, run it through that so we could screen off any debris or weed seed or anything like that. And that gives us enough seed to do get to our F2 generation where we'll start, or F3 generation where we'll start doing our selection on it. Yeah, and that's the quick and dirty seed cleaning.